Thank you. First frame, you do to break.
He played brilliant in the Welsh Open last year. I think that's where Ding's good form came from. And since that tournament, he's really gone on strong, you know, winning Shanghai, winning in Thailand, the final, the International Open. Everyone's allowed to have an off day in a final. He come up against Mark Selby, who's on his form, playing very, very strong. So, you know, the standard's that high that someone like Selby can do that to anybody. So, for me, I'd just blank it out of my mind and go, you know what, it's another final, and I'm knocking on the door. And that's how he should see it, really.
Good opening red from you. Just the fourth meeting between this pair, Ding having won 2 of the previous 3. They haven't played since 2012, though, so nothing recent between them. And Yu has defeated Ding 5-2, 5-3, I should say. That was at the German Masters, so he knows how to beat Ding.
He's a very underrated player, Yu Delu. He's a very good ball striker. He gets through the ball. He doesn't, you know, when he hits the ball, he hits it with authority. So with that type of action, it allows him to get amongst the balls, open the balls up, and score quite heavy. And you know, if he's on his game and Ding's not,
12.
you know, he's not scared of winning.
Beat Stuart Bingham last season handsomely, 6-2 in the International Championship when Bingham was the reigning world champion. So no respecter of reputations.
You do 12.
He'll be disappointed with that one, though. Awkward queuing.
Yeah. One.
Played that perfect there. He's got 3 reds there above the black, which look like they all go into this bottom right-hand corner. And Ding's one of them players that if he gets a couple of these next shots right, it could be like balls out in the open. So it'd be interesting how he goes about this.
8. Nine.
One of the best players I've ever seen in these situations where he's got to get the right angle on blacks and reds and, you know, cannoning balls. I don't think I've ever seen anyone as accurate. Maybe Stephen Hendry,
16.
John Higgins, but this guy is up there.
Prolific break builder, one of the all-time greats in that department. One of the few to have made in excess of 400 career centuries.
17.
That's a very select band.
He won't be happy with that. He would have wanted the white a little bit more off the cushion. He can only go forwards with this one, so probably come off the side cushion for the red over onto the right-hand side of the table. Oh, I got that one wrong. Play for the red below the black, the pack.
24. 25.
Big shot this here. He's got quite a big target there. If he hits the right-hand side of the pink, the white will go into that and glance off the other red, so the white doesn't go near the corner pocket. Ding's very good at this shot. Very good plain ball, middle, white ball striker. Yeah, played that perfect.
30. $31.
It's not always an easy shot to get right. Sometimes you can get into it too much, not enough. Leave yourself a bit no man's land on the blue, but he's played that really well.
$36. $37. $41. $42.
Now in his 30th year, Ding Junhui, the first of his 12 ranking titles, coming way back in 2005 when he was a wild card at the China Open and went on to win the title, beating Stephen Hendry no less for the trophy.
49.
See that shot there he played there? He's played that for an option of reds. He's gone a little bit too far for the two reds, but knowing that he would always have this red, so that's
50.
what makes Ding such a great break builder. He's never just playing for one red. He's always playing, if he doesn't get one red right, he'll have a choice of another. That's why he's made so many maximums. Ooh.
$57. $58.
So just one more red.
65.
And Yu Delu will require a snooker. Just sneaked in.
That's the thing though, when you strike the ball really clean and pure, they do go in off the knuckles. If you're a bit of a jabber and you stab at the ball, they hit the knuckles and they never seem to drop. So that's a good testament to Ding's cueing at the moment.
71. Ding Junhui, 71.
Should be enough for Ding. That run of 71. Just 51 left. Two snookers to tie as things stand.
Foul. Ding Junhui, 4.
A quick glance from Yu Delu to Ding Junhui, and that's the end of the first frame. So an impressive start from the reigning Shanghai Masters champion. Ding stepping in after Yu's error on the red to make 71. He leads by a frame to nil.
Thank you. Second frame. Junhui to break.
Junhui with a break of 71 in the opening frame on this, the second day of the Northern Ireland Open, live from the Titanic Exhibition Centre in Belfast. The second leg of the brand new Home Nation Series. Liang Wenbo, of course, having won in Manchester at the English Open. So the possibility, however remote, that he could still collect a cool £1 million bonus. Liang in action later on today. And Junhui will be pleased with the start he's made.
Get the feeling here that Yu Delu is way out of shape.
Touching ball.
Early in the first frame had a chance, sort of scrambled that one. That one is missed by a mile, and you can't keep leaving Ding opportunities like this. He's just going to crucify you.
He had that very difficult loss to you, Ronnie, in the Masters final a few seasons back now, when he seemed to struggle when he got behind in a big match, and
9.
Perhaps his temperament let him down a little, but he's grown so much in terms of his maturity since then.
Yeah, listen, you know, defeats can affect people in lots of different ways, but I think, you know, in the bigger picture, I think stuff like that can, you know, can make you stronger. And I think Ding's learnt from that, and he's come back now. He's working with Terry Griffiths, and he's much more in control of his emotions. Play-wise, you can't think of a better player on the planet. But if he gets that side of it right, which he seems to have been doing, you know, he's a handful. He's going to be a handful for a long time. I think also he believes he's now 29, coming into his 30th year. This is his time, 30 to 40. You've got 10 years where you can dominate the game. You know, he's at the prime age for that now.
And up until
21
last spring at the Crucible, the World Championship was the one tournament where he'd underachieved, but having got to the final as a qualifier and pushed Selby pretty much all the way, I'm sure that will now give him the belief that he can go all the way in seasons ahead, though.
26.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that World Championships just gave him a massive boost of confidence.
27.
You know, I think the way he played as well, you know, 17 days, he kind of went through his matches really not getting pushed much. He wasn't getting pushed, it's just that he was playing so well. And he'll come off having played the hardest match player the game's probably ever seen. And he's taken him 18-14 in what is probably the most
34.
pressurised match you can possibly play. So he must have come out of that thinking, yeah, no, I'm ready.
Yeah, and that having been 6-0 down, so showed a lot of resilience, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, 6-0 down to most players in the world final, you can think, well, maybe I can get back into it. 6-0 down against Selby, you don't get back into it. So, you know, he's got a lot to be proud of from that match.
He'll be disappointed with that one, however. So the break ends much earlier than expected. Bit of a let-off for Yu Delu.
I don't think this is nerves with Yu Delu. I think he's okay in that department. I just think he's not dedicating enough time to the practice table. He practices down a place where I practice in London, and some days he comes in at 2:30, 3 in the afternoon, and he'll hit balls for like 10-15 minutes, and then he'll go out. And I think, is that it? And you know, you can't get success with that amount of dedication. You know, I don't care how good you are, and I just think it's showing in his game at the moment.
Certainly his results this season would back that up. Mentioned at the start of this match, he's lost at the first hurdle 6 times already this season, just 2 wins. And his ranking now down in the 60s. He has been as high as 46. That was a few seasons ago now, though.
4.
So his career going in the wrong direction at the moment. Same age as Ding, 29. Very different careers.
5.
I think the way Ding's playing and the consistency he's been showing, he'll be coming here this week just looking at this as a nice bit of match practice. He'll be looking to sort of, you know, just you know, he don't want to extend himself too much because there's a lot of big tournaments coming up, like the UK Championships, which I'm sure he'll be looking to get on his CV again. He'll equally want to be winning this tournament, but he'll want to save a bit for next week, and I think that goes for a lot of the professionals now. It's just about trying to peak at the right times.
He'll be going for his 3rd UK title at the Barbican Centre in York at the end of this month.
13.
And the way the season is now scheduled, Ronnie, with so much competitive snooker out there, it's inevitable that the top players are going to have to be a bit selective, aren't they, in order to be as fresh as they can be for the big ones?
Yeah, it depends. I mean, it depends how you want to do it. I mean, I've come here this week just thinking, play a few matches, hit some balls on the practice table, don't read too much into anything, and just see it as kind of putting the yards in for the big, you know, some of the other tournaments that are up and coming. Some people decide to take a week off, and that's fine. But I mean, I used to play when I was first turning pro. I had this thing that I couldn't win back-to-back tournaments.
Junhui,
So coming up to World Championships, the last 3 tournaments, I thought as long as I get a quarters, last 16, and I'm just ticking over, that's nice, you know. And then I used to go into World Championships thinking it's my turn to win an event. But you know, it's important just to keep your eye on and play a few matches.
Another surprising miss from Ding, on the cusp of claiming his 2nd straight frame. The question is whether Udaloo can take advantage, and there's your answer. It's just not happening for him at the moment. And this looks like a formality for 2-0.
I think the thing here is for Ding, I think he's got to try and keep his focus, his concentration. Just try and, you know, Udaloo's missing a lot of balls here, and it'd be easy for Ding to just think, oh, well, I'm just going to get over the line anyway. But the thing is, you start to do that, it seeps into your next match, and then it seeps into your next match, and before you know it, you're trying to find your game. And I think where Ding is with his game at the moment, he just wants to be very efficient, just clean these balls up.
Well, that was frame ball,
6.
barring snookers, and it's highly unlikely Udaloo is going to get the chance to play for any. Been very one-sided thus far. You did have that early opportunity in the first frame, missed the red, and he was slightly hampered. Since then, nothing has gone his way.
12.
Winner of this plays either Robbie Williams or Tapchaya and New in the next round.
Twenty.
It's what's known as dead weight. Tapchaya, he's a talented QS, Ronnie.
Yeah, I love watching him play. He's most left-handed are, but he's really clean putter, aggressive.
27.
Yeah, no, fantastic talent. You know, great scorer. He's at the maximum now. Missed 2 blacks on the maximum, so he's one of them that once he's around the black spot, he likes to stay down
33.
there.
34. $41. 43. 46. 50. 25. $61. 68 in the frame.
It's all pretty routine for Ding Junhui at the moment. That clearance of 68 to go with the 71 in the first frame. He did miss a couple in that frame. It didn't make any difference. Yu Delu failing to trouble the scorers. And Ding already halfway to a place in round 2.
Thank you. Third frame. Yu Delu to break.
Yu Delu has scored just 12 points in the 2 frames so far. Ding with breaks of 71, 34 and then a 68 clearance for a 2-0 advantage in this their 4th meeting, their first since 2012. And so far the red hot favourite living up to his billing. Just to mark your card about what we've got coming up later here on table 1. Next up it's Dominic Dale against Joe Swale, then Liang Wenbo, who of course won the English Open, up against birthday boy Nigel Bond, now 51 years of age. And then something of a grudge match first up this evening, Mark Allen against Mark Joyce. Unlikely, Ronnie, that those two will be exchanging Christmas presents anytime soon. Well, the jury's still out on exactly why they don't get along, but it's pretty obvious they don't, and Mark Allen has been quite vocal about it in the build-up to this match. He's got a poor record against Joyce. They've played 6 times and Allen's lost 5 out of 6, so perhaps that's part of it. I don't know.
Maybe that isn't just the grudge thing, because Joyce is a top player, so yeah, and I don't think that does Mark any favours to kind of turn it into a grudge match, because he is the favourite obviously by his rankings and what he's done in the game, so probably gives Joyce that little bit of incentive to get one over on him. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see that one.
So that's the first match this evening, and we complete proceedings on this second day in Belfast with Marco Fu against Ryan Day. Well, there you see evidence of Ding's monopolising the table so far. 205 points without reply.
Great little setup they've got here, seating down the side, which I think is great for a TV table. Nice bit of tiered seating. I always think on these TV tables it's always important to have crowd to the side, because sometimes when you're sitting there and you don't feel them around you, you kind of don't feel like you're playing to anybody. So I think they've got a great little setup here. The atmosphere is good. It's like a mini little Wimbledon. Just a different sport.
Great atmosphere last night for your match, and then Jimmy, of course.
Yeah, I know. I always say the Belfast fans, and you know, they've got a real history of snooker. You know, Alex Higgins, Dennis Taylor, Joe Swale, Mark Allen. They've produced lots of great players over the years, and they're very knowledgeable about their snooker. And great snooker fans, and they've come out supporting this tournament fantastically well. And to be honest with you, that was one of the main reasons why I wanted to come to this event. I love coming to Ireland anyway, and Wales and Scotland, because they just love their snooker so much. And you know, it's a pleasure and an honour to be able to play here.
Yes, it has a very rich history, doesn't it, Ireland, for producing fabulous players and fabulous tournaments. The Irish Masters, formerly at Goffs, of course, one of the all-time great venues for snooker.
Yeah, without a doubt. That was like a real gladiatorial kind of venue. When people say there's hairs stand up on the back of your neck, I only ever had that once when I played Ken Doherty in the final there. I was coming out for the final session, and the roar of the crowd, I could hear them, and it was like, phew. And that's the only one time I've ever felt that. But what a buzz there. Amazing.
19.
Steve Davis won that title no less than 8 times. Well, when Jimmy White was champion back-to-back in the 80s there, I guess it was Ireland's version of the Wembley Conference Centre, which is sadly no longer with us either. Great nights, great memories. Back in the here and now, though, Udaloo finally with the chance to get his hand on the table, but
27.
Not thrilled with that one.
See, that's a typical shot that when you're playing regular, you make that cannon. When you're a little bit out of touch, you kind of don't really, you know, don't happen for you. It's like a feeling type of shot, and he seems to be a bit out of touch.
Udaloo 27.
Well, isn't that always the way when you're playing well? You get the rub of the green to go with your good form. Ding hit that way too thick, but got away with it.
That's the sort of thing that happens for you, though. When you're cueing well, you get away with things, and you think, oh, it's like a fluke. Yellow and brown there become a little bit of a bigger target, so if you get a good white here, you can block the table off and make it a bit more difficult for your opponent.
Well, Ding obviously thought he'd spotted a plant. It was close. Maybe he feels at the moment he can take the odd risk because Udaloo's just not playing well enough to punish him if he does make a mistake. And he's got away with that one as well by the looks of things. That was a really good pot from Udaloo. He knew he'd be leaving Ding right back in if he missed. Very awkward cueing. Striking right down on the top of the cue ball. Eminently missable, but in it went. Now can he capitalise and get his first frame on the board? Already 28 in front.
6.
Ding won't want to give Udaloo too many chances here and let him back into the game, because,
12.
like I said earlier on, you know, Ding's in good form and he wants to just respect the balls, respect the game, irrelevant of how his opponent's playing. Because one thing this game can do is kick you in the teeth, and if you disrespect
13.
it and start taking liberties, then you can struggle to start, you know, making breaks, and that's something Ding will not want to do.
Were you a bit surprised he took that plant on?
If he was flying and, you know, he was kind of, you know, everything he was seeing was going in, I'd say, no,
19.
or, you know, go for it. But when you've kind of, you know, your opponent's struggling and you're just taking them on because you think your opponent's struggling, that's when your opponent can get a little bit of a bit of form going.
20.
And little things can start running against you. And in these best of 7 matches, it can just be 1 or 2 shots that turn the game around. And you can think, well, how did that happen? And it's just because you disrespect the game. It's you know, you can't do it. The game is it's a wonderful game and it needs to be respected.
27.
And presumably you also want to get into that winning mindset for future rounds, and so be as clinical as you can be and as tough as you can be in terms of your match play for the rounds ahead.
Absolutely, it's all about building momentum and kind of just doing the little things right. And once you do that, everything kind of takes care of itself. But the most important thing is to try and, you know, stay present. You know, play the table, play the balls as they land. And it's not an easy thing to do, but it's just more of a discipline thing to do. And I think someone with Ding's ability, it's just about discipline sometimes. And if you get that right with Ding, then, you know, it's like a Ferrari. You just go on, then off you go. And there's no stopping him. Other players need to work a bit more on their game because they have the discipline. So I just think if I was Ding's coach, and I'm not, but I'm sure that Terry would be saying a similar thing to what I'm saying here.
Well, that was frame ball, barring snookers, just 67 remaining, so it looks as though Udaloo stopped the rot.
43.
Was an excellent initial red to get in. Perhaps that will just give him a bit of confidence, but that's a bad miss. Yes,
Udaloo,
Ding needs a snooker, but he'll be coming back for sure. Really should have made sure there of the frame, Udaloo. He knows it.
1.
And that's, by me saying that about Ding, that's just definitely not, that's not a criticism. That's just me being, you know, me talking about a world-class player that's capable of winning multiple world titles and winning every tournament he's in the game and being the #1 for a long time. And to be that player, you have to kind of be like your Roger Federers, your Nadals, and your Tiger Woods. The intensity is always there whenever they play, and I think that you know, you have to learn from other people in other sports. I've been there myself. I remember I went to see some sports psychologist, and I'd only met him once, and I went round his
16.
house, and he sat me down in the front room. And he put a Michael Jordan DVD on. And he left me there for about 2.5 to 3 hours, and I was so
17.
absorbed by this documentary about Michael Jordan that once I finished watching it, I realised where I was going wrong, and I realised that, you know, I had to look at my professionalism, how I approach my life, my game, and you know, it's just teaching you about, you know, being disciplined basically, and just getting the best out of yourself.
24.
I thought I was until I watched that, and then I realised I had a lot to do.
Was that before you won your first world title?
Yeah, this was going back into about 1997. Yeah.
One of the all-time greats, Michael Jordan. Phenomenal athlete.
25.
Well, Ding needs just the one snooker. The way things have been going for him recently, and for Udaloo, you wouldn't bet against him getting it.
I mean, you couldn't have picked the white up and put it in a better position here. That was a fantastic shot. Probably wanted to be a little bit more to the left so he could have stunned it in, but still would have took that.
Junhui, 32.
So Yu Delu has to be careful now. He's made life difficult for himself in a frame he should have won some time ago by missing that straightforward red.
Played on this match table last night and it played absolutely fantastic. It's one of the best tables I've played on all season. So it's definitely a scoring table.
Ding Junhui, 6.
Oh dear. So that's the snooker ding needed. Just 32 behind now with 35 left. What a horrible frame this would be to lose for Yu Delu.
Fantastic pot in the middle.
Oh dear.
Foul.
Well, he can laugh about it. He'll be annoyed with himself though. That was a chance to pinch a frame he looked certain to lose, and what a let-off for Yu Delu. Bit unlucky, I guess.
Thought he would have maybe come up the other side of the table because there was nothing in his way. Going that way, he could have snooked himself on the brown, the green. So a bit of a strange shot selection there from Ding, really.
And surely it set the seal on this third frame, so Yu Delu has a foothold, having largely sat out the first two. Missed quite a few as well. He's low on confidence at the moment. He's got no kind of form to draw upon.
5.
Just maybe this frame might flick the switch for him. You never know.
Nine. 14. 20. 27 in the frame.
A scrappy third frame, but Yu Delu won't care about that. He's won it, and that's all that matters. Ding had the chance. He got the snooker he needed, but screwing in off into the centre pocket cost him. He now leads 2-1.
Thank you. Fourth frame, Ding Junhui to break.
Ding Junhui still with work to do to book his place in round 2 here at the Northern Ireland Open. Led 2-0 in the blink of an eye, breaks at 71 and 68. And had a chance for 3-0 against the out of sorts Yu Delu. Got the snooker he needed, but then went in off. And so Yu, who's desperate for a win to restore a bit of confidence, has a chance now at 2-1. First of 4, of course, to go through. Best of 7 all the way through to the quarterfinals on Friday. Then it becomes best of 9. Semis best of 11, final over the best of 19 frames. There's been much head shaking from Yu this season so far. Very little has gone his way. You mentioned how well you thought the main match table was playing Ronnie last night. I think it was 5 minutes and 41 seconds for that 130 clearance.
Really? As quick as that?
Yeah.
Speeding up in my old age.
Only slightly slower than the maximum break, of course, at the Crucible. Where does that rank in terms of a buzz when you made the maximum in just over 5 minutes against Mick Price? Where does that rank in your all-time career moments? Just for the buzz, the thrill of doing it in the way you did it.
To be honest with you, it was one of my worst maxes because I was a bit out. I was out of position a few times.
Only you could say that.
Yeah, I was out of position a few times, and it was like a bit of a rescue 147. It was like there was no plan to it. It just kind of like happened. Whereas the ones that I've made, like last 4 or 5 years, they've been executed really nicely, and I thought, oh, that was really good, you know. So the reason why it was so fast, because I was in so much panic and fear that I thought I better just get it over and done with as quick as I can, so I don't have to think about it. So yeah, it's a great moment, and everyone congratulates you on it. But I've had a lot better moments in snooker, really, and even 147s for that fact.
Were you conscious as you were making it that it was as fast as it was?
No, I didn't even have an idea of the speed. I just kind of thought, right, you know, there's no other colour you're going to look for. You're just going to go red, black, red, black, red, black. No matter where the white is, you're going to go to get on the black. And that's all I've done, really. And, you know, the balls fell nicely a couple of times. And
6.
I got lucky.
Got lucky. Out of position. Well, it's just as well you weren't in great position. It probably would have been about 3.5 minutes then. Well, Ding has just taken his foot off the gas here a little, hasn't he? From 2-0, he's missed 1 or 2, and
I'm telling you, this game here, once you lose your concentration, it is so hard to get it back. And what happens is, once you lose your concentration, the other guy seems to find some confidence from nowhere, and then he starts potting balls, and you think, hold on a minute here, I was just, you know, I was missing balls because it was so easy, and now I can't pot a ball. And I'm just sort of like, this is, you know, this match could easily turn here now, just on that basis.
12.
Yeah, from the moment Ding took on that plant from close to the baulk cushion, when it looked as though a safety shot was the obvious option, things have just turned a little.
But
that's gone horribly wrong.
Yeah, the bad shot was on the blue, coming down for the red. He overhit it by, I don't know, a foot or so, and meant he had to go into the pack of reds there. Didn't have a clue where the white was going. So
Yellow ball.
Bad positional shot really from you.
Foul and miss. Udelu 13. Ding Junhui 4.
Chance then for Ding to regain his focus that he showed in the first couple of frames. Goodness me, that was one of mine. Oh, so was that.
1.
Attentional pockets.
Well, he missed that by such a margin. That was extraordinary, but when it's going for you, talk about rubbing salt into Udelu's wound. He just seems to have lost his concentration at the moment,
7.
Ding, and as Ronnie has said, it's not so easy to get it back again. Much straighter on the red than he wants it to be.
7.
Good opening red. Easy to cue from the pocket.
One of the hardest shots in snooker, that is, cueing from the where the white was right in the pocket, red across the table. Horrible shots to play. Cued it fantastic.
Well, the fact that Ding has started to miss a few must give Yu Delu renewed heart that he can turn this situation around. If he wins this frame, he'll be level and all to play for. It's then a best of 5. Best of 3, I should say.
5.
And also with these best of 7 matches, it doesn't give you the opportunity at the interval, if you have lost your concentration, to get it together again. So you're kind of out there in the match. You're having to now fight to get it back, and it's not always the easiest thing to do.
Plenty of action, of course, going on the outside tables. Kyron Wilson beating Hamid Maya 4-2. Wilson, who, as Colin mentioned at the start of the programme, came perilously close to a £10,000 bonus and a maximum break.
11.
He missed what for him was a very straightforward 15th black, having potted blacks with the previous reds. Described it afterwards as the worst black he's ever hit. But he's through. Former Shanghai Masters champion, of course, Wilson, and already a ranking runner-up this season at the Indian Open, where he lost to Anthony McGill. He's got a good attitude, hasn't he, Kyron, Ronnie? He's
17.
the sort of player who he seems to have that inner self-belief that he can do something in the game.
Yeah, I love his professionalism. Him and his coach work on good stuff. You know, they just don't go and hit balls. They're putting little patterns
18.
up, certain routines. They're always working on something. And for me, that just shows massive professionalism. You know, they're covering every little base. He's a real top guy. Just loves playing snooker, loves competing, and you know, he's got talent as well. He's blessed with a ramrod straight cue action, and and one thing, he's still only 23, and he plays like he's been on the circuit for, like, you know, he plays like a 30-year-old. So, you know, he's going to win lots and lots of titles, and you know, he's for me, he's definitely a future world #1, because there's no one in that age category that comes anywhere near him.
The way in which he closed out
25.
his maiden ranking title at the Shanghai Masters, beating Trump, was impressive. He really held his nerve together impressively in the business end of that final. Is it something of a concern, the lack of young players, particularly
30.
domestically in the UK, coming through? Because it just doesn't seem to be that vibrant junior circuit that there used to be back in your day, you know, the early 90s, and before that, of course, long before that.
Yeah, I mean, I look around now and I don't see anybody under the age of 20, 21 that's capable of doing anything in the game. We look at China and we know there's hundreds and hundreds of young players there that are coming through the ranks, and give it another 10 years, you know, it might just be the whole top 16 could be, you know, the majority of Chinese players. So yeah, it does concern me, and you know, I don't know how you put that right. I think a lot of it's grassroots. It's getting young kids back into playing snooker. In my day when we was playing, there was a snooker club every 2 miles. Now, with the tobacco ban, you're not allowed to smoke in clubs. A lot of them are shutting down because they can't afford to stay open. So the opportunities are maybe not there as much for the youngsters as it was in my day. And it's
a lot
just
more
a shame.
distractions as well, you know, mobile phones, social media, so many other things you can be doing with your time.
Yeah, absolutely, and I get that. But in China, they have a system there where they all go and train at a certain place. They're not allowed to be on their phones. They're disciplined, and like I said, it's all about discipline. It's all about
44.
putting the time in, and you know, you need to be in the right environment to do that. And I don't believe there's enough places in England good enough to do that at the moment. But I'm talking to some Chinese people that want to set up an academy in the UK, obviously mainly for Chinese players to come over and play. But I would love, I'd love some good UK British talent to come on board. I'd love to try and, you know, get him into it.
That's another
45.
very good pot from Udaloo. Closing in on this frame. 42 in front with 43 on. So this green. And Ding will need a snooker. And this match has rather slipped from his very firm grasp of the first couple of frames, Ding. He's lost his way a little and he's been punished.
48.
This red to make absolutely sure. It looks like 2-all.
$49. $53.
Comfortably, Udaloo's best break of the match so far.
Udaloo 53 and the frame.
And Ding Junhui remains in his chair. Well, what a turnaround. Ding was completely in charge. Udaloo all at sea at 2-0 down. But he's turned things around with some help from his decorated opponent. And it's on as even at 2-all. Match on our hands at 2-all.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, you know, it's just a matter of concentration for Ding. If he'd have stayed on the gas, it'd have been over by now. He'd have been in his hotel room, doing his press conference, whatever, getting ready for his next match. Now, it's a best of 3. The other guy's got the momentum. He knows he had this match in the bag, and his mind will be playing tricks with him now. And this is a test of see if he can dig himself out of this hole. And this is a true test of his mental skills now.
Over on table 2, by the way, 2 good friends and compatriots. Stephen Maguire and Alan McManus doing battle. Maguire 2-1 up. That's a match you can watch, of course, on the Eurosport Player. There is our venue here at the Titanic Exhibition Centre. 8 tables in use in the early round. So many matches to get through, of course, before we get to the quarterfinals on Friday.
I think for Ding now, the most important thing for him is to not miss any easy pots. Just to go back to basics, you know, start playing very high percentage snooker, play some good safety, take what's there, and start, you know, getting back into the game that way. Because the danger here is that if you start taking on shots, you miss, you leave your opponent in, and it becomes a nightmare.
They're both level pegging in that regard at the moment. Pot percentage success is at 88 for both players. So Udaloo's has gone up fairly significantly. Ding's has come down. Well, I don't think he'd have potted that red in the first couple of frames, but clearly Yu's confidence is growing now. He's beginning to believe that he can cause a major upset here.
6.
Udelu's pots are going much more cleaner in there, so sign that he's starting to see the ball a little bit better.
$11. $12.
Just one ranking quarter-final appearance on Udelu's CV. That was at the Players' Championship a couple of years ago. Turned pro back in 2011. And if he were to pull off a big surprise here today, it would surely rank as one of his finest wins as a professional. Mentioned that he's beaten Stuart Bingham before. Of course, he's beaten Ronnie before at the aforementioned Players' Championship. But to beat Ding from 2-0 down, given the form that Ding has been in of late, that would be a major
16.
feather in his cap.
$23.
Reds are not ideal here. He pots this red. There isn't really any obvious other reds on, so it's crucial here that he kind of makes some sort of a cannon at some point just to open the game up.
24. $31.
I think in potting this red, he'll push another red out.
$32.
So he's got all Q in there in this black. Unless the pink goes in the middle, I'm not sure. Lovely little cannon now.
He's looking like a different player now, isn't he? All at sea
38.
early on. Much shaking of his head, but now looking up for the battle.
39.
Doesn't need to go in into the pack of reds anymore now.
46.
He's got 3 reds kind of out in the open. 1 on the left-hand cushion. That's a 4th, so no need to get into the pack. As long as he minds his business here, could be a frame over. think he wants to play for the pink here, but it looks like it's tight to me. So maybe the best shot here is to come off the pot the red, come back off the side cushion, play for the black. Two options here. You could run it in, white off the side cushion, or you could stun into the two reds below the pink. Didn't bother going into him.
54.
The second half century of the match to go with the 53 to level at 2-all. But it was the run of 43, 55. Courtesy of that very difficult opening red to right centre in the third frame after Ding had gone for the risky plant, which has really been the catalyst for a turnaround in this match, which is just an hour old. He has some thinking to do. Well, this is 62. The plant he took on. Clearly felt confident about it, but ever since then, it's been a bit of a struggle for the reigning Shanghai Masters champion. And it's beginning to look as though he's going to have to win the last two frames to avoid an early bath. Cueing so much more sweetly now, isn't he? Struck that well. Well, that was frame ball.
68.
68 the lead, just 67 there. What a turnaround. Who saw this coming at 2-0?
69.
Good chance here that you could go on to make a century here. It's a very powerful cueist, you. He gets through the ball really well. Gets a lot of power from minimal effort. Looks like he's just run out of position now. It's been a really good break. Had a couple of nice cannons to keep the break going. And he's still going.
Terrific recovery. Well, this is how he managed to beat the likes of O'Sullivan, Bingham and indeed Ding in the past. He is very capable when he's cueing as well as he is right now.
81. '82. '89. 90.
I think he's a very underrated player, Udall. I've practiced with him quite 96. A bit, and he can go on spells where he can make like 7, 8 breaks over 90 on the trot. And I think obviously, 97. You know, the start of this match, it could have been a confidence thing. You know, I don't know. I know he's not the heaviest of practices, but I think as this match has gone on, he's gained a little bit of confidence. And if he gets a win here, or you know, or even now, he feels like he probably, you know, he's got a bit of confidence in his game, a bit of belief, and you know, maybe this could turn his season around.
Well, this has been a terrific break. It really has. thoroughly deserves the century. It's not going to be a clearance, but he won't care a jot about that. Ding looking a little fed up with life in his chair, and no wonder, because Yu Delu has now won 3 on the spin and is threatening a huge upset here at the Northern Ireland Open. Ding, the highest ranked player here, remember, this week, and he's 3-2 down.
Thank you. 6th frame. Ding Junhui to break.
How quickly the momentum can shift in these shorter best of 7 frame matches without intervals. Ding Junhui in complete control at 2-0 up. Yu Delu couldn't buy a pot at that stage, but how he's turned things around. That's not a great break-off either from Ding, to say the least. Superb century from Yu just now, to go with breaks of 53 and that very good 43, which gave him the foothold in the 3rd frame. What a great chance at the start of this 6th frame.
One.
Yu's pot percentage success has risen pretty dramatically since he trailed 2-0. It's now up into the 90s. That's kind of the benchmark for these top players. Ding at a relatively disappointing 88% still.
9.
And now being outscored as well. And remember, at one stage he'd scored in excess of 200 points without reply, Ding.
$14. $15. $22. $23. $30. $31.
A little bit unlucky to land where he has with the cue ball. Put some extra pressure on his next shot. Well, he must be feeling good about his game right now, fresh from that superb century in the previous frame. He's going for it. Tough pot. And beautifully cued. And Ding was afraid to look. just goes to show as well, doesn't it, how much of this game is played between the ears, because he wouldn't have even contemplated taking that on in the first couple of frames of the season he's had, but suddenly now he just believes, doesn't he?
Thank you. 37.
Exactly the same player as he was just over an hour ago, but with a completely different mindset.
It's
It's one of the many reasons that it's such a great game. Absolutely fascinating. The level of skill required, the mental aspect of it, the ability to hold your nerve under extreme pressure, keep believing when things aren't going your way, stay
43.
patient when you're glued to your chair watching your opponent make a big break and then another one. It's a kind of torture, isn't it?
.45. .46.
Ding getting a taste of his own medicine now. Well over 200 points without reply that Udaloo has put together here. But that's gone wrong.
53.
Right in the heart of the pocket again.
54.
Just a little shy with his pace. But this is getting serious for Ding now. This is the frame Yu requires for a famous victory and the biggest upset of this tournament so far. We saw Sean Murphy go out yesterday to an inspired performance from Luca Bracel in under an hour. Barely missed a ball. Murphy barely had a pot.
59.
But this is rather different because Ding was in charge and he's rather let it slip.
.60.
So near, but not quite over the line. Didn't pot that as cleanly as he wanted, which is why the cue ball is slightly awkward. But this red, and Ding can only tie. This black, I should say. In it goes.
.67. Udaloo 67.
It's very true, isn't it? Just a few years ago, there were only half a dozen ranking events on the calendar, and it felt almost like a part-time profession. And if you did have a bad result, you might have to wait weeks on end to get a chance to redeem yourself. Now, it can be a matter of days. But Udaloo pushing the black to the cushion has certainly helped his cause here. Remember, Ding needs blacks with the remaining reds just to tie, keep this match alive. Tall order from here. Couldn't have played that much better. But Udaloo needs just one red and this match will be over. It's an extraordinary turnaround, it really is. And it all stemmed from that attempted plant.
One.
Well, this has got to go. Otherwise, I think there might be a handshake.
Eight.
So close, he can taste it, but not quite there yet.
Junhui, 8.
Wow. So close to the in-off, which of course would have allowed Ding enough points to pinch this frame. Oh, what a pot that was, all or nothing.
One.
So perhaps this match has a further
8.
twist in the tail. That man will hope it doesn't. He's played exceptionally well from 2-0 down. Ding, remember, needs blacks
9.
just to tie and force a tie-break black.
$16. 17. 24.
Oh dear, that's gone horribly
25.
wrong. Not only is he not on the black, he's not even on the pink. Not without a very good recovery shot at least. This is tricky to say the very least. Well, it's a great pot to keep his faint hopes alive, but he does now need a snooker.
31.
.28 the difference, 27 there. And he's furious that he hasn't
Junhui,
laid a
31.
snooker with that shot, as you could see from his body language. He's got the snooker. Well, he's giving it everything, Ding, to keep his hopes alive here in Belfast. So close to being outstanding, but no cigar. Once again, just a little bit too much pace. Well, the crowd gripped by this finale. They would have arrived here this afternoon expecting a comfortable Ding win, given the form he's been in of late and the struggles that Udaloo has had. It's not worked out that way. It's been a terrific match. Just an hour and 20 minutes old and some change. Udaloo anxious to get this over with. He knows the job's not done just yet. Good hit. Another terrific shot from Ding Junhui, who's giving it absolutely everything. You can't help thinking if he'd shown this kind of mental application when he was leading the match, this would have been a much more comfortable afternoon for him, as he left it too late. Oh, just caught the edge. It was close. Half a chance here for you on the yellow. It's tough queuing. Only a quarter of the ball to aim at. What a result he's had there, though. Ding needing a snooker. Finds himself in a snooker. He's got to get this safe. Yeah, the thing about Selby, Ronnie, is that the harder things become, the more he seems to excel. Getting on for 2 years, yeah.
Scorer, but I still believe the safety aspect to the game is massively important.
Well, Ding continuing to back up what Ronnie O'Sullivan has been saying about his expertise in laying snookers. He's turning the screw here on Udaloo, making life as hard as he possibly can, with you in sight of what would be a great victory for him. Could be a season-turning victory if he can complete the job.
If I was Ding's coach, I'd have said to him at 2-0, I want to see you doing this at 2-0. You know, just kind of turning the screw, and even if you lose a frame but you've played it like this, you go into the next frame thinking, well, you know, the other guy's won it, I haven't lost it. And I think that's been the mindset of Ding. He feels like he's thrown a few frames away where he's been a bit loose, a bit over aggressive. When you've got a safety game like Ding's, use it. Use it more. Use it as a weapon. And you know, players that are open are quite easy to pick off, because you have to make them. But someone like Selby and John Higgins, who plays the percentage game, you know, they know they can sometimes get a pot, but they think, well, why? I'm just going to wait and let this guy hang himself. And I think a lot of players can learn from them two guys that, you know, it's just not all about potting.
Titanic safety battle here, with Ding desperate to get the snooker he requires to get back into this match. And if you were to turn this frame around, well, I guess you'd have to make him the favourite for the 7th frame, because Udaloo will probably be in bits, having come so close.
This looks really good. Oh, just over it.
Comfortably the longest frame of the match at 23 minutes. And another half chance for Udaloo to put this to bed. If he pots the yellow, Ding would then need 2 snookers. That's for the safety. Well, that was a good chance for Ding. He knows it. Shake of the head. Oh, would you believe it? Well, when your opponent
24.
needs a snooker, the last thing you need is balls flying around the table. He couldn't have legislated for the green going in, but suddenly this match is back alive. Enough points for Ding to steal this frame. He looks certain to lose. Wow. Great pot. Not the position to go with it. But these are anxious moments now for Yu Delu.
I think the brand being where it is kind of giving Yu Delu a bit of a safety, a bit of an advantage here. It's a bit of an insurance policy. Even if Ding does pot the green, he's still going to have to pot the difficult brand. So it means that, you know, Yu Delu has an extra life, if you like. And but he'll be feeling a bit nervous now, having had this game in the bag.
Wow,
Foul.
that is
Ding Junhui 2.
quite
Yu
extraordinary.
Delu 4.
Having got the snooker after Yu Delu potted the green by mistake, he's given it straight back again. 26 the difference, 25 there. Double perhaps. Well, that would almost certainly have been frame and match had the green disappeared. Very difficult to play a shot like that on these super fine cloths. So easy to overcook the shot. Another chance for you. Well, he's making a three-course meal of it. I bet his heart is pounding right now. It's been a brisk match, but this frame is becoming elongated at over 27.5 minutes. Will it be the last frame of the match, or can Ding somehow turn this around? He needs one snooker again.
Probably go hit the green pretty thin on the left-hand side. White onto the side cushion with run inside to hit the other side cushion to try and get him behind the black here. Maybe put the green in line with the blue. There you go.
Another great shot. Well, he is giving it everything he's got here. Is it going to be enough? This is awkward. This is missable, Ronnie.
Very missable. Sometimes this shot's easier to get off two cushions rather than one. So I'd be sort of looking to go up towards the green bag with a little bit of run inside to go side cushion, back cushion, hit the green. One cushion, I always find it's a little hard to judge, but he's judged it perfectly well.
Yeah, that was better than it looked, wasn't it? Full ball as well. It's over 22 minutes ago since Yu Delu potted the ball that meant that Ding could only tie with reds and blacks and all the colours. It's been an epic. And this time, the green disappears.
3.
29 the difference, 22 on. 2 snookers now needed.
Yu Delu 3.
Ding's task getting harder and harder. And he offers his hand. Well, what a shocker we've had here at the Northern Ireland Open. The highest ranked player in the tournament. And the reigning Shanghai Masters and 6 Reds world champion Ding Junhui dumped out from 2-0 up. Yu Delu, who's had a miserable season, has won 4 on the spin. And he's won 4-2.